two-point conversion. Boom, and then the spin move. Looking for something. Get there. Reaching out for the two-point conversion.
Welcome, people, to another episode of Go for Two. I'm Mike. That's Jeff. There is no Kenny. There is no Juan. And we had
what happened to Kenny? What took him away?
Oh, Kenny's dead.
Oh, damn. Oh, well, he'll come back.
I mean,
live
episode
next
next episode. Exactly. So, with Kenny being deceased, we are going to talk about this Tom Brady retirement. We're going to jump right into. We have to do the emergency podcast. And yo, I don't believe you're retiring. I refuse to believe you're retiring. So everybody that's texting me in our group chats and torturing me, and just to make it clear, I am a Dolphins fan. I just happen to be a Tom Brady.
Questionable. It's questionable.
It's not questionable. I'm a diehard Dolphins fan. But since you are a known Patriot hater, as most Dolphins fans are, because I don't necessarily hate the Patriots. It's weird. I have a weird relationship with the Patriots and Tom Brady. I'll let you go first. So what are your initial thoughts about Tom Brady, like, calling it quits?
For a lot of fans out here, this was a day that many of us saw coming eventually. And I'm so goddamn happy that it's here. Man, Tom Brady, I hope you go play golf and you suck at it. I hope that all your records get broken by my boy Pat Mahomes. I hope you never come back. I hope you don't even pull a Brett Favre, and I hope you stay retired. And if you do come back, I hope there's a bounty gate for you. I'm just part of that. I'm playing.
So Jeffrey just asking you personally to keep Tom Brady in the house. So if you happen to be on a red carpet event tomorrow for negativity, tell me I didn't remember the name this time.
You almost forgot because you wanted to record tomorrow.
So if you're on a red carpet tomorrow for negativity, as of the day of this show is being recorded, and it will be posted on the day that Tom Brady called it quits, which a day we never forget, because January, I don't know the date, but it's January 29th. That's what today is. I had to look at the bottom of my computer. And yeah, the NFL needs a break. And this is it. Like, this is open season on, Super Bowl favorites. This is open season on, who's the next Tom Brady, which again, like, Tom Brady is going to be like in his class, like he's like Jordan, right? Like, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, you can say it, but he's more of in a class of his own, because not only does he have all the, like, he has all the records, right? But he also has the hardware with it, right? Like, there's the championships to go along with it. And that's what makes it hard. So the question would be like, this is like way ahead of the future conversation, but like, what would it take for somebody to kind of be, considered like, okay, well, this is, he should be in a conversation of Tom Brady?
Man. Over 20 years. Number one, you got to play over 20 years. You can't have too many injuries. Tom Brady had one. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be not even hard. It's gonna be damn near impossible to reach some of those accolades that man got.
Yeah.
As much as I despise Tom Brady, I can't deny his greatness. As much as I hate him, and I'm glad that it's over. I'm glad that we don't have to deal with this anymore. This nonsense, and NFL could go back to being normal for once. It's impossible. It's impossible. I can't say impossible because records are meant to be broken, but they're so high up there. Even Ben Roethlisberger, he's top 5 in passing all time, but Brady has like 80,000 yards, right? That's a hard record to break.
So this is my thing when
like 5 Super Bowls.
Yeah, and that's what I think it starts with. I think it starts with like at least 5 championships, and that's a lot. Like, personally, I hope we can get away from the conversation of measuring other quarterbacks by Tom Brady, right? Because at first the gold standard was Joe Montana, and then Peyton Manning and Tom Brady came along. And I know in between that we had John Elway, we had Dan Marino, we had other people, but he had the championships plus the records and that elite athleticism, so on and so forth. like you said, like it'd be almost impossible. It'd probably take another 20, 30 years, right? So whoever's going to be the next Tom Brady is not in the league right now. Like this dude is in high school somewhere, probably named Archie Manning. And like, like if somebody's going to come along, it has to be, you have to come, the standard would be, like you said, like at least 5 championships, which is insane. Like to me, like that's still insane. Like the fact that he's not going to have an equal in terms of conversation, because for a while people were like, oh, well, it's still, Joe Montana. People try to throw Aaron Rodgers in there, like, and other quarterbacks to say, well, this person is better than him because, but like he has both now. Like he has all the stats and a championship. So it really would be a difficult thing to break, or even to be in a conversation. So what's like, if you think Tom Brady, boom, what's the first thing that comes to
mind? Dolphins.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of misery caused to us. The other thing that comes to that's
the other thing, because that's another podcast.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me not talk Dolphins. All right. Okay. The one thing that comes to mind with Tom Brady right off the bat, Bill Belichick. It is a perfect storm. It's like not only you won a lot of Super Bowls, you deal with one of the best coaches that will go down in history as probably one of the best coaches to ever do it.
I think personally he is the best coach of all time. That's me personally.
Well, yeah, it's just, he had a career decorated with, Tom Brady and granted they were very great at, drafting players and also, cutting guys, trading guys before they, like, okay, this is your peak. You're at 28, 29 years old. Time to get rid of you, get some value, bring in somebody else younger. Contract. Yeah. So that's crazy that they were able to do that so many years, but they found success. So Belichick is.
So what comes to when it comes to mind when I think of Tom Brady, it's like, of course, winner, right? Like it's kind of like, okay, well, that's all he did was win. And it wasn't just the fact that he won 7, right? Like he went to 9 or how many, 9 or 10?
I think
10 Super Bowls, right? And we can name the losses: 2 to the New York Giants, 1 to the Eagles. He has the thing with the NFC East. He just cannot beat them. So, he won 7 out of 10. And you hit something on the head. Like it was an argument of, well, who's responsible? Is it Bill Belichick? Is it Tom Brady? And I was always on the fence of 75% Bill Belichick and 25% Tom Brady, because he constructs the roster that allowed Tom Brady to move the way he was able to move and the play he was able, like being able to make the plays that he was able to make, and the games that he would call, and situations that he would set up. But after he left, and not only did he win a Super Bowl, but he went, now he could possibly win an MVP, and it would be his 4th MVP. So he could possibly win another MVP, and it's all without Bill Belichick. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe it was more 60-40, still 60 in the favor of Belichick, because all he has to do is win one. Like all he has to do is win one Super Bowl, and it's proven like, okay, well, it wasn't just all Tom Brady. So
that Belichick has to win one. But Tom Brady went to the perfect situation.
Yeah,
like Peyton Manning did. Peyton Manning went to the perfect situation. So it's not like he was like, hey, let me go. And granted, why would he? Why would Tom Brady go to a team that needs to be rebuilt at his current age?
No, it's silly.
No, it's silly. It's like, I want to go to a team that basically should be competing for a championship, but I'm the missing piece.
Yep. Which, and I don't want to get too far off topic, which reminds me, and I was about to write an article about how Aaron Rodgers and the Denver Broncos are the perfect match, because they have the ability to trade for him, and then they have the weapons and the defense to allow him to be successful. Yeah. But after this, it's like, well, maybe it's Tampa Bay and Aaron Rodgers. That's the perfect.
I would hate that.
No, of course, because it's kind of like it's bookend, like Super Bowl or whatever. Like it's literally just replacing one great with the next. But we'll talk about that for sure. I'm going forward. So like if people just like to put like in perspective with Tom Brady, freaking 7 championships, 5 Super Bowl MVPs, 3 MVPs, 15-time Pro Bowler. Most likely, I think I think this year would have been his 15th time. He is a Hall of Fame All 2010s team. He was a 2007 AP Player of the Year. Like he was 2009 Comeback Player of the Year. Like this dude just has accolades on top of accolades on top of accolades on top of accolades on top of accolades. Yeah. And he almost made winning a stat for quarterbacks. I know it wasn't him. Like, I know people were doing it, but it's almost as if he made winning a stat for quarterbacks.
I would agree with that. I would agree if you take well, so yes, he did. But you also know that when he went down and they played Matt Castle and that was the only time they won 11-5. And that was the only time Miami won the division, and we had like the same record as them.
Yep.
You know, so yes, he did make winning almost like a stat, but also I do feel Bill Belichick probably wouldn't have had that many Super Bowls, but I believe he would have been. He would have had it.
He would have. See, and I'm with you. Like, I think that Bill Belichick wouldn't have had as many, but he would have definitely had multiple Super Bowls. It's just because of the way he's able to construct. This dude, he doesn't play to his roster. Like, let me rephrase that. Sorry. He doesn't draft to his roster. He drafts to get players, and then he constructs around those players. This man hired a bunch of offensive coordinators. Charlie White, see, a lot of people forget, going back to Tom Brady, his greatness actually was this. People thought he was just a system quarterback. Remember one of the things about Tom Brady? Oh, he just dig and dunk. I'm like, but the dude would have like one of the best, yards per attempt averages. All you have to do is give him a deep threat. When they got Randy Moss, all of a sudden his yards per attempt averages went through the air.
Yeah, it did.
And he played for multiple
to the Giants.
Indeed, he ran to the Giants, and
he ran to them again.
And then the Eagles. But even then, after that year with Moss, he was able to. He started. It was his yards per attempt were higher than normal. Like, as he started to grow as a quarterback, so did as the team started to grow, so did he as a quarterback, right? So it became more of a quote unquote Tom Brady system. But he played for Charlie Wise. He had Josh McDaniels twice. He had Bill O'Brien. And I feel like those are the only three coordinators he played for. I might be missing somebody in between, but this dude played for different coordinators. He played in 12 personnel heavy. He played in spread. He played in run heavy offenses. He played in pass heavy offenses. He played in vertical offenses, even though they do use between the numbers more than anybody. But he played in vertical offense. He played in short game offense. So his versatility and his ability to kind of play in any type of system is remarkable. And
I think that's one of the things I want to hear about too. When they do a documentary on Tom Brady when he's like 50, they might do it sooner than that. They probably
got TV12. He's doing everything. He probably doing it right now.
They're going to do a documentary, and I think that'd be one of the things to ask. Like, okay, going into what was the mindset and the process behind the offseason that you guys had when it was like, okay, we got, especially that year when y'all got Randy Moss, Dante Stallworth, y'all had Wes Welker. They had Wes Welker as well. Mm-hmm. Corey Dillon was there.
Yep. Crazy Corey Dillon. Yep.
So it's like, what was that process like? And then after, when you lost those guys, what was the game plan after? Because then, even though he had for 3 years, Randy Moss didn't win a Super Bowl with him.
Yeah, like it was close. It probably was 2.5, because remember they traded him in the middle of a season.
Yeah, they did. They traded him in the middle of the season. So it's like you give Tom Brady one of the best deep threats, even though Randy Moss kind of was like a little on decline a little bit.
Give it take. You can say that.
Yeah, a little bit on decline, but you gave him the best weapon. It didn't produce championships, but it allowed Tom Brady to, I think, grow a little bit more as a quarterback, because it's like, okay, I have this weapon. Now, how do I translate that into making my weapons, hitting my targets downfield without a guy that's 6'4" that runs a 4 flat or 4-1, 4-2, and I can jump out of the building. So he found a way.
He did, and
never had the best weapons.
I was just about to say that. And then they went from that, right, which is more of a spread, and then they had Gronkowski and Hernandez, and it was like they went that 12 personnel route, right? Like, it's kind of like they ran the ball heavy. I don't even know who to be honest. I can't even think of who the running back was, but it's like they went all the way back to 2001, 2002, right? It was like it was very run heavy. It was focused on getting Gronk the ball down the middle. Aaron Hernandez was doing, split back and running H and, planning the slide. And they just had like a time, like they, and it was different from the Randy Moss era. So you said something, I agree. Like, I want to know what, like, the question should be for sure. Like, what was it like? Because for him to play in so many different schemes and for a coordinator like Josh McDaniels to come back because the Tom Brady he left and what he came back to, and the offense that Josh McDaniels run now is not the same way he ran when he had Randy Moss and Wes Welker. So I wonder, like, how did they, converge and figure out, okay, well, this is what we should do, and to take that same thing and move it to Tampa Bay with Byron Leftwich and Bruce Arians, because
that probably was a little bit more easier.
You think so? Because, I guess because with Bruce Arians, like, look, I'm just gonna do whatever you like. Byron Leftwich is a player's coach, right? And then Bruce Arians is a player's coach. Because to your point, it's probably more like, okay, well, what do you think we should do? Because obviously the no risk and no biscuit wasn't working. Remember at the beginning of the season when he first got there, he was launching the ball downfield, but it wasn't really, like you said, it doesn't translate to years. It wasn't translating to wins, and his stats wasn't looking that good. Yeah, he was throwing the ball downfield, but that's not really his style. So he somehow after that bye week, whatever him and Byron Leftwich came up with, it worked and it produced a championship.
Yeah, and I think too, it took getting used to, again, different weapons for him as well, because now you're playing again with another big target in Mike Evans.
Yep, deep threat in a different way.
Yeah. So I think it was that the guy threw for almost 5,500 yards this year.
Yeah, look, this man is retiring at the top of his game. Like, you can look and say, oh, why did he retire? Like, he was in the playoffs, like you said, threw for almost, freaking 5,400 yards, threw 43 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Wait, he only threw 6 interceptions?
What this year? No way.
No, he threw 12. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No way.
I'm like, wait a minute. What did I miss? I'm sorry, he threw 12 interceptions, not 6. 12 interceptions. So
he had some Matt Stafford moments.
He did. Wait, that's mad disrespectful. And I just agreed, just diarrhea in the mouth. Because it is true though. It is true. And what's crazy is, like, even this year, the fall off wasn't, like, it's crazy how the fall off wasn't really a fall off. Like, right, he arguably had a better season this year than he did last year. He threw 1 touchdown and more yards this year. So to see him retiring, for me, like, it's like, I thought he was gonna have to get drug off the field. I thought his stats are gonna kind of have to go down. He's gonna say, I'm going to throw for 90,000 yards. I want to play top. I'm 45. His wife probably put her foot down and was like, yo, you got to stay home because you sacrificed a lot anyway. It's time. Like, what more? Because what more did he have to prove?
Yeah, didn't have nothing to prove. At that point, it was just. I think for him, it's just playing for love of the game. 7 Super Bowls, that's a hard accomplishment to reach. Very hard.
Impossible.
5 was hard, but he made it look. I can't say he made it look easy. He played 22 years, got 7. That's successful.
But still, I often say, like, you said it right though. He spent all of his career in the playoffs.
Yeah,
all of it. Yeah. And he spent half his career in the Super Bowl. So you're right. He did make it look easy. Like, that's exactly it. So to wrap this crap up, I'm not as happy as you are that Tom Brady is leaving. You're thrilled. I'm low-key sad. But we had to bring y'all this podcast because is it a podcast if it's not going on an actual, like, audio? Or is it just...
Oh, yeah, that's true. I mean, this
I always wonder that.
Bring you dang, yeah, what happened?
Yeah, somebody...
That's terrible.
I don't know if y'all can leave comments because there's not a lot of y'all. But somebody said, is it a podcast? I know we could Google it, but why? We've been lazy. This is Tom Brady's last day in the NFL. But what if he didn't retire though? That's the thing that I'm tripping about. What if he put in the Brett Favre? And because before we go off air, there was another rumor that his papa came out and said he hasn't made any decisions yet. That's
true. They're saying that that he hasn't formed. The issue that they're saying with it is that and if it is the end, Tom Brady, good riddance. But ESPN came out about 15 minutes ago and they stand by the report because it's sources close to him that are saying, yo, he's walking away. And maybe his wife probably said something. Maybe she, you know what I mean?
She probably did. She probably let him go like, hey, you ain't walking his back. She's probably the close source and like, hey, you ain't walking his back. So
it was more of like the timing. And, I think because he wanted to be the one to really announce it.
Yeah.
Jesus, Lord, please let no funky business happen. But I think that's what it is. Timing, him wanting to announce it, but not being able to.
Yeah. He not in a championship game. So it's like, hey, look, I'm about to be the talk of the world. I think he wanted to wait till Monday. Like, when everything is, like die down, settle down, and he could kind of. It's gonna be that week before before the Super Bowl. Guess what everybody even talk about? His retirement. I don't know if he's a narcissist like that, but
and the one thing I do want to say before we finish is that I think one of the things that is severely overlooked, and maybe hopefully a lot of quarterbacks do that in the future. Or they
I already know what you're gonna say.
What?
Take the pay cut.
Huh?
Take the pay cut.
What's that?
The pay cut?
The pay cut. Oh. That's a good one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That is a good one. Yes, that is true. The pay cut.
Yeah.
Tom Brady understood winning, but the thing that I think is overlooked is diet more than anything.
That is true.
I believe if he didn't keep the diet that he has kept for so long, he probably wouldn't have been playing as long as he would have. A clean diet like that.
LeBron James is another one, right? That's kind of like, you just reminded me of that because one of the things that, he prides himself on is what he does. But yeah, Brady and the avocado cake or whatever they be teasing, never had strawberries.
Wait, you never had strawberries?
No, Tom Brady never had strawberries.
Oh. I was like, even I had them, and I don't like strawberries.
even I had them.
That's crazy. That's interesting.
So Jeff the vegan, Mike the carnivore, go for two. Tom Brady retirement. We out.
Go to hell, Tom Brady.